We're in a very festive mood today, and that's why we're showcasing the various festivals that you can find yourself in as the sun is out and you're enjoying your time out with loved ones. And one of the most important and beautiful festivals that you can be a part of and enjoy is the Joy of Jazz Festival, a premier annual event in Johannesburg, South Africa, showcasing the best of local and international jazz talent. This iconic festival brings together music lovers and jazz enthusiasts alike for a thrilling experience featuring a diverse lineup of legendary but also emerging artists. So hey, let's continue this festive mode together. We have in studio with us Afro-pop, gospel singer and actress Maḍuvha. You know, let me tell you something. Our tech guy was giving me lessons on how to say this right before it started, because he heard me say it before and he was like, you know what, it doesn't sound genuine.
Let's see if we can get it right.
Okay, say it again to me. Let me hear that. Maḍuvha. Am I right?
Maḍuvha.
Maḍuvha. Am I saying it right? Am I saying it wrong?
You're doing very well.
Okay.
You're trying.
Maḍuvha.
Now you must remember the D.
Yeah.
It's a silent D. It's
Okay.
like thee, thou, thou. Maḍuvha.
Oh, Maḍuvha.
Perfect.
Maḍuvha.
Right.
Yay! Okay, I'm excited. Well, you look fantastic. We're going to put this on YouTube. You'll see her in amazing Venda regalia, looking amazing. The Joy of Jazz Festival. First of all, hey, thank you. Thank you for coming and gracing us with your presence today on Channel Africa. We've seen you on our screens with the music and the acting, and now you're featuring in this year's Joy of Jazz Festival. Tell us a little bit about this year's premier Joy of Jazz Festival.
I'm so excited about the Joy of Jazz Festival. This year I get to grace the stage when on the Mbira stage, as we honor the legendary Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi.
Oh wow.
So his band is coming down to South Africa.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to be on stage.
Oh, wow, that's iconic.
Yes, with
Yes.
Mom Yvonne Chaka Chaka and a young man called Mbeu, who's also from Zimbabwe. He's part of the band.
Oh wow, that's fantastic news. I mean, when I don't know, did you get a call that you were going to be featured? I mean, this particular feature that you have is one that showcases some of the most legendary artists that we have here on the African continent. Oliver Mtukudzi, of course, he's made an indelible mark in the music space and in the African continent. And of course, being on stage with Mama Yvonne Chaka Chaka, how does that feel for you?
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of tributes.
Yes.
Because I worked with Oliver Mtukudzi. Not only did I feature him on my project, I also had an opportunity to work with him not only in South Africa but also in Zim.
Wow.
And these tracks that we actually produced together, but we never got to release them. And but for me to just honor the legacy at the Joy of Jazz, it is not only an honor, but I mean, Dr. Oliver is huge.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
He's a big
Wow.
deal. So I must have done something very right to get the call for them to say to me, Maḍuvha, on the 28th of September, we would like you to be part of the band.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Joy of Jazz, we've been seeing it for years, and it's always one of those things that people pencil down in their calendar to say, hey, when is this year's Joy of Jazz? I need to make plans to be there. And the most beautiful thing about it is that the genre of jazz historically was seen as something for old people, but the Joy of Jazz brings in so many different artists from different spheres of life, different age groups, to enjoy the spectacle of music. What has been for you, I think, the most beautiful thing about participating, of course, in this year's Joy of Jazz, but also just seeing the growth of jazz in South Africa, on the continent, and internationally gathering at this festival?
So for me, what is it all about, or how do I feel, I suppose?
Yes.
As I paraphrase. Joy of Jazz displays the richness of not only our music as South Africans, the continent, and the rest of the world. But throughout the years, what has happened, as you have said, it's a bit lighter. It's vibey, right? It's no longer for the niche. You pencil book the minute they announce the dates. You are like, I am so going to the Joy of Jazz because it is that amazing. I have watched the Joy of Jazz before. The last time when Oliver Mtukudzi was performing with Hugh Masekela. I was also there watching them, and it was absolutely
awesome.
beautiful. It was absolutely amazing. And not only am I excited to go and perform, I'm also going to be watching. There's a couple of artists that I really want to watch. Some are personal friends, some are people I absolutely admire, but definitely Joy of Jazz is the place to be at the last week of September. It starts on the 25th to the 28th. And this is not a marketing tool, by the way. It is what it is. It is one place where you just have to go and experience the richness of the sound. And remember, the music scene has changed a lot.
True.
And I know musicians get so sentimental about, no, we must stick to the richness. We must just remember that different genres serve different people. And the Joy of Jazz is serving a certain sound. It's bringing a certain sound to the ear of an African child and the rest of the world.
Well, speaking about being sentimental, I think we as South Africans have found you to also be someone that's very sentimental to us. We've sort of seen you over the years evolving and, doing a lot of different things. And, your face is easily recognizable across South Africa, wherever you go. But what have you been up to? What have you been up to lately? What has Maḍuvha been, getting up to?
I had taken a bit of a break, and it was an intentional break. I was a child star. I meet people who are like, yo, Mama Maḍuvha, and I'm like, I'm only 42 years. I know I've graced the screens for many, many years. What was I concentrating on? I was concentrating on business. I was also redefining Maḍuvha sound, because when I started in the industry, I did Afropop, as you had said. I did gospel, and there's also elements of jazz in my music. I also did actually I did.
You did a lot. Did you not even do some house as well?
I did house. I did kwaito. I did hip hop.
You've been out. You've been there.
But when you've done it all, you as you evolve as a human being, your sound also evolves. So I gave it time just to listen to myself, just to listen, and not have, I'll say, the outer influence. When you get into the industry, you're told what to do, how to do it, and it's not a sign of rebellion. It's just me being true to me, true to self.
Let's talk a little bit about that process, because that's very interesting. Now I think we're getting to the nut of the issue here, the cream of the topic. I mean, it's one thing to be in the industry and you get pushed in all sorts of directions, right? Because you're also trying to figure out where you fit in now. But at the space that you're in, I'm sure you've got a solid idea of who you want to be or who you want to be seen as. What is that idea after this hiatus or this break? What do you see yourself representing, especially in the public terrain?
I see myself representing a beautiful sound, and I'm not even trying to bring a so-called new sound. I'm just being authentic to what I feel it's right for me to produce. The message has also changed, because when you were young, as you said, you were just an actress, a musician.
You love the titles,
trying to navigate.
Sure.
But now there's also a greater responsibility. I'm also a United Nations ambassador. Do you understand that now the world is watching and listening to what you say. So when you open your mouth, you are no longer just saying
anything.
Yeah. You got to be very responsible.
Sure.
But being responsible does not necessarily mean that you're capping the sound that you are hearing. And it is such a beautiful space to be in, where you are not trying to do the right thing. You are just being. You're just living.
So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, now you're working on a serious terrain. I mean, when you speak about the United Nations, it's an international platform. Yes. What is the work that you do there?
I'm one of the road safety ambassadors for the United Nations, because over 1.6 million people die on roads, not just South Africa, but everywhere.
And it's so sad, like every day when you listen to the news, there's an accident somewhere.
Primarily people between the age of 5 and 29, and it's very sad to hear that. So going forward, of course, you have to produce a song that's got to do with road safety. Am I making sense to you?
Sure.
I will always sing about love, because we are love. That is the core of who we are. That is what drives us. That's what defines us as human beings. You know, when you embrace love, you are not fearful.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about Lerato my love. I'm just talking love in general.
Sure.
You know, Ndimuvenda.
Yeah.
And there's no way I can produce an album and not have songs that are just purely Chivenda.
Let's talk a little bit about the walking you here, just walking into this particular floor. All the vendors were just like greeting you, like I didn't know there were so many vendors at SABC, you know. So it was beautiful to see that, especially now where we're going to be speaking a lot about Heritage Month and heritage. And you convicted me, like, you've got a vendor surname, you're a vendor guy. I need to take you to vendor to figure this thing out. And I think that was a great conviction. How much does heritage play a role for you? Because that's a almost innate connection to you, because we know you from Muvhango, and you became like one of those big representations. Even today, when I think of Muvhango, your face kind of lights up, right? What does heritage mean to you? And how does it fit in your approach to your work?
Heritage is who we are. It is what's been passed on to us and what we are going to pass on to the next generations. And when I came in, you said to me, "Oh, look at you looking so." You said What did you say?
I said you look beautiful.
Thank you. But there's something that you said as like, "Oh, you look at you representing."
Yes.
And I'm like, but this is me. This is me showing up on not shopping, but in most cases I am in my Mingwenda or Guana, you know, depending on how I'm feeling on the day. And for me, it's at first I felt a conviction to say it's important for people to see me as a vendor. But I'm an African child first and foremost.
Sure.
I love the colors, they pop. And I also love conversations like the one that we are having now. Because when we have conversations like these, not only are we spreading the message to say to an African child, don't forget who you are, don't forget your heritage, right? But for me, it's just the choice of when somebody else is choosing a brand or a certain designer, I'll rock up like this any day.
You know what I like about what you said about that? Because you said, this is who I am. And usually when we see people wearing, you know, their African regalia, we think there's an occasion. But there's no occasion for us to wear our normal everyday clothes. And if more of us were to embrace the fact that, you know, we are part of the greater collective, the heritage in us, we wouldn't see someone wearing their regalia as a spectacle. It would just be a normal day of someone wearing clothes that just represent who they are.
It's September. People are gonna get rid of the dust on their and it's you know, the 24th of September it's a very sad day for me to watch, where you find that somebody is excited to wear the regalia, but there's also an element of It's a one day.
It's a once off, yeah.
Yes. Once a year people do that. And I find that when I travel the world and I wear the regalia, there's more attention for people to try and find out where do you come from. And when you say South Africa, in most cases, people know about the Zulu nation because most productions or most musicians who were launched abroad were primarily Nguni speaking, Zulu speaking.
Sure.
But the minute they see this, they say, we've never seen this regalia. And then you school them. It is such a beautiful feeling, and it's such an honor for me to not carry the music but to carry my people.
All right.
Not only South Africans but Vavenda Bahashu.
Beautiful one, taking us to
Why did you cut Ndata Oliver?
I don't know. Let's hear a little bit of Oliver Mtukudzi there in the background. Let's hear there at the end. Let's hear this. How can we miss that?
Oh, wow.
We were gonna miss the best part.
I'm telling you.
That's part of the song.
Yeah. Oh, that wonderful voice.
Oh.
Wonderful one. That's Maḍuvha there with that one titled Nyarara, featuring the legend himself, Oliver Mtukudzi. We've lost a lot of legends, haven't we? When you listen to that voice, you just feel that sense of kind of like we've had so many voices that are absent in the vocabulary of the music right now. It's a big loss, and we must remember, right, Maḍuvha?
We must remember, hence what we were talking about, the heritage.
Yeah.
There's also musical heritage. In as much as people are experimenting with different sounds, lest we forget where we come from. And what I like about this generation, Oliver Mtukudzi, the Hugh Masikelas, the Mary Makebas, they were not trying to sound as if they come from another continent.
Yes.
They were authentic to Africa and very specific and deliberate to deliver the music through the South African sound. So we've lost so many of them. We'll forever treasure them. I'm grateful because there's so many lessons that I learned from many of them. I mean, I used to fly to Zim and just sit under a tree, literally, and listen to Dr. Oliver. And he was not a man of many words. So when he'd open his mouth, he'd be like, oh, he's about to say something. And trust me, what he would say would be so profound. Why did I work with him? Chivenda and Shona, we share some dialects. The languages are very similar. And we were like, why don't we produce a song that, or songs? Actually, I went there to negotiate for a song. And then he said songs. Why don't we produce songs just to try and merge the two languages? And he looked at me because I thought I'm coming up with something very brilliant. And he looked at me and he's like, we're Africans. It's not supposed to be something out of the ordinary. It is what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And how was it working with him in studio? Because you did mention that you're one of the last people to actually collaborate with him. How was his energy? How do you actually create music with him? Because probably it's very spontaneous. So do you guys have to write a few ideas down? How was the experience?
Can I make a comparison?
Sure.
Working with Hugh Masekela was a party. Fun. Working with Ndate Peter Mkwena was also fun. And I had moments where I'd just roll my eyes because he's that hilarious. Working with Tshepo Tsula was a lot.
In what sense?
Very complex character.
Okay.
But it worked. It worked. Working with Ndate Oliver was very intimidating.
How so?
And it was not him trying to intimidate. It's just he was so majestic.
Yeah, his presence.
His presence was intimidating, yet he was such a humble man, a man of very few words. His work would speak for itself. You see, so creating music in studio, I remember, and funny enough, I was the first person to sing in his booth, in his recording studio, just after he set it up. And I was shaking because I'm like, okay, what do you do when you're in Dr. Oliver Mtukuzi's studio? But the experience was beautiful. I remember flying back, and I'm a woman of many words, but I just sat there I was like, okay, what just happened?
In awe.
That's wonderful.
I want to come back to your tribute at the Joy of Jazz. Because, you have these intimate stories with, Dade Oliver Mtukudzi and all these legends. And now, post their passing, having to stand on stage and represent that person in who they are, their wholeness. You sort of have to take on part of who they are and show it in studio. And you spoke about how majestic he was as an individual, and you have to try and elaborate that majestic nature of who he is when you are on that stage. Is that intimidating?
Is it daunting?
It's not, because I got over it. I got over the intimidation, because I think he saw that I was I was shaken to the core. But the key lesson for me what he said to me was, don't forget who you are and what you represent. What you represent. So even if I would be on a Joy of Jazz platform representing or honoring Oliver Mtukudzi, Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi, lest I forget that I am Maḍuvha Madima.
Yes.
It's just me interpreting the Oliver music. I can never be him. Even if I wanted to. I could never. But we will still honor him.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back to the acting space? Have you been doing that lately? What's going on there? Because that's a talent that's in you there. You can't run away from that.
The last project that I did was Giyani, Land of Blood, and the River.
Yes.
I'm a mother, guys.
It takes so much time. But it does take so much time.
Why I say this. When I gave birth to my daughter, I which was 13 years ago, I took a bit of a break because she was still a toddler. She was still, now she's a teenager. 6:30 is not conducive for a mother. And I know some people cannot afford to stay at home.
Yeah.
Oh yes, there's a couple of things in the pipeline for me, but I'm enjoying the break. Like I said, just to listen, and primarily because I'm in studio, I just needed to
exhale.
Because what happened, I remember when I did the recording with your Oliver Mtukudzi and Tshepotsola, and whom I also had an opportunity to take them to Venda.
Yeah, no, I'm coming.
Hint.
Hey, even put me in the bus, guys, please.
What was stressful for me at that point was that I was acting on one series. It was one of those crime series.
Yeah.
Doing that, trying to produce music, quickly going to a voiceover, navigating as a mother. It was just too much for me.
Okay.
And I vowed to myself that I would never ever put myself under such pressure.
Fantastic.
So
okay.
Yes, I will.
That's great. That's great. Because you are a wonderful talent,
That's
right?
That's how I serve humanity.
Absolutely. All right, let's wrap it up. So you're going to be at the Joy of Jazz. Tell us which day. Tell us which stage. You did highlight the stage, the Mbira stage. But just tell us the date and just recap who you're going to be working with again if someone just joined us.
We are going to be honoring Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi on the Mbira stage 28th of September. I urge everyone who's coming to just check the schedule as to when it's going to happen. I will be performing with the Oliver Mtukudzi Band.
Wow.
With Mum Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Dr. Yvonne Chaka Chaka.
Yeah, there's a lot of doctors
There's
that
a
you
lot of
work with.
doctors.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe it's a sign.
maybe it's a
This is a sign.
I mean, Dr. Hugh.
Yeah.
Dr.
Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi, Dr.
Dr.
Yvonne
Yvonne.
Chaka Chaka.
Yeah.
Come on, child. Come
That's
on, African
right.
child.
That's
You
right.
got this.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be on the Mirror stage on the 28th of September, with the original Oliver Mtukudzi Band, and also Mbewu is also going to be joining us. He's a young man from Zimbabwe.
Fantastic. Well, we have to wrap it up there. Maḍuvha, thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful conversation with you. I'm going to come to Venda with you. I'm going to come. I need to figure out who I am at some stage. But thank you for gracing us with your presence. And thank you for looking so beautiful, being yourself. Like, I don't want to say you're wearing heritage wear.
For being yourself.
Just for being yourself. So thank you for gracing us here on Channel Africa.
It's a pleasure, an honor. Ndolibuka.
Fantastic. That's a great way to wrap up that conversation. Go check out The Joy of Jazz. It's going to be a wonderful spectacle, especially when we reflect back and look at the icons who actually created a pathway for many of us who are here now. And Oliver Mtukudzi definitely was one of those pioneers.